All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today for Toad Learning Camp. And we're going to be talking about the trends for 2021. I did not do a PowerPoint today, so we're going to get to see each other's full-size faces instead. Um, the big trends that we're seeing right now that is very different from normal is we're seeing a lot of close-in trips being booked. People going within the next 2 months and not just going to a hotel down the street or even Disney. Sometimes that's kind of short time planning. We're even seeing all inclusives and other trips, house rentals, vacation rentals, all inclusives to the Caribbean, and then anything basically in North America. So we're getting people contacting us that want to go next month and want to go outside of the country, which is really kind of surprising. But with up until recently, with the rules that we were seeing in the Caribbean, it was encouraging people to try to do that. They weren't requiring COVID tests in most places, and they are doing social distancing in all the resorts and that sort of thing. But now that there's the COVID requirement, the negative test to come back into the country, that's slowing that part down. But we still are getting inquiries on it. So definitely the close in domestic travel is definitely tops right now. But the other thing that is really surprising, I think people are waiting on cruises until they actually see them start up. So we haven't seen a lot of bookings for 2021 cruises, but 2022 has been really popular. Um, and especially river cruises.
Hmm.
Had 5 river cruise requests this week, and that is really unusual. Um, I booked a couple of the Adventures by Disney trips this week, going to Antarctica, which that surprised me. But there are 2022 sailings and people with FCCs that want to use them, so they're getting those trips booked out. Um, Honestly, if you're thinking about 2022, now is absolutely the time you got to get it booked. With travel basically non-existent for 10 months in 2020, and now with cruises and travel not normal right now, but no cruises until at least May 1st, um, things are filling up. And we were looking at a trip for a client to Caribbean cruise in September, and we couldn't even get them rooms near each other because it's just getting so full on that ship. In We're also seeing that many of the cruise lines are offering their further out sailings sooner. So a couple cruise lines do have 2023 sailings out already. We're going to be looking at some possibly group sailings in early 2023 for that. But some of them even are starting to show like summer of 2023. So it's definitely a good time to get those far out cruises booked, and get something on the books because people are going to be waiting, ready to go. Hey, we're all ready to go now, but they're going to be, as soon as they feel comfortable that numbers are coming down enough, they're going to be getting on these ships and getting ready to go. Um, and I forgot to open up the graphic that I had put together. We did a survey recently about people's feelings about travel. And what we found is that a good share of people are still ready to travel or to book travel now, but they don't want to plan until they know that the end is coming. So, and that's kind of the problem that we're in right now. But we're starting, I think, with the vaccine being out, we're starting to see that trepidation go down. which is a good thing. So, other than that, and river cruises definitely are really hot, which is that's kind of surprising to me that that is such a big deal, but people are looking for either December or into next year. So, and that's like I said, it wasn't going to be a whole lot. That's really about all I've got right now. Does anybody have any questions about what's going on or what we're seeing?
Why river cruises?
I think it's, yeah, people, this is what's been really interesting to me. Talking about river cruises versus regular cruises, some people are saying, I would rather be on a huge cruise because I know there's a lot more space. But then other people are saying, I would rather be on a smaller cruise because I know there's going to be fewer people.
Mhm.
And the other thing I think is that people haven't spent any money.
Yeah.
And so going on a river cruise has kind of been more of a bucket list item for a lot of people. And now they haven't traveled anywhere for, it'll be over a year. And they've been saving up money and not going anywhere. So why not try a river
Yeah.
cruise?
That
So,
was my initial thought. It's just coming down that people are, I haven't been on a trip in 18 months. I want to do something, and a river cruise is for some folks a stretch.
yeah. Yeah. And it's, that kind of surprised me. And,
Yeah.
but in talking to some other agents, in just their in perceptions of what's going on, a lot of them perceive a large cruise ship as having a ton of people. And that's really turning off a lot of people. But in
Mhm.
reality, the large cruise ships are going to be the first to come back because they have more space.
Yeah.
And when you cut down the number of people, you still have a lot of venues that people can go to. Where when you're on a small ship, like take the river cruise we were on last year,
Mhm.
if you have 50% occupancy on there, everybody's still in the lounge at night. There's no other place that they're going to be.
Right.
So, I think that, and I think that people are just still unsure if we're going to be going through a lot of these restrictions next year, and hopeful that we won't, but still unsure. So they want to book what they think they'll be comfortable with at that time without really knowing what's going to be happening.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's bad in Germany, and I know it's bad in France right now, to the point where they're more locked down than anything. So, for me, from a business travel standpoint, I'm not going anywhere this year.
I haven't seen the news this week about it, but last week I heard that Costa and MSC were starting their European cruises back up on the 24th.
Mhm.
I don't know if they pushed that out anymore yet, and I don't know if they're doing stops or just doing cruises to nowhere, basically. But I think Europe did a good job in the spring of getting the numbers down, and they probably will again. That we're just facing a spike that, I mean, it was
Mhm.
predicted that there was going to be a spike everywhere, and we just spiked a lot more than anyone else did. And with the vaccines out, and um, hopefully it will start going down, and we'll get people back out traveling.
Who did I see? They're going to start doing like short, like 2-night cruises to nowhere. Oh, I can't remember who it was.
Where was it?
I think they were going out of Florida, so it was probably, one of the big ones, Royal or something like that.
None of them have announced
Yeah.
any short sailings yet. I know that they're getting ready to do their cruises. We're just waiting for the CDC to approve it. And
Yeah.
hopefully, I mean, the big thing with changing administrations,
Regions.
you don't know if they're going to carry over the same guidelines and the same rule that they had for cruise lines, or if they're going to work with them in a different way.
Yeah.
So it could be totally different. And,
Mhm.
but we might not have to wait the same amount of time as they had set forth already. Hopefully that picture will get a little bit clearer within the next couple weeks. Because I know it's hard on so many parts of the economy if those cruise ships aren't going.
Oh,
But in
yeah.
the same respect, you don't want them going if it's just going to spread more illness.
Mhm.
So they're looking for the happy medium, because there's just so many people that are not working as a result, not just with the cruise lines and with the travel agencies, but your port workers, your hotels, and a lot of
Yeah.
things are just not operating. But then there's also what countries are going to let us in.
Right.
But hopefully, I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful that May is going to happen. I know I said that last May, but
You know, if
and
May
again in
hap-
October.
if May happens, that's great. If it doesn't, no biggie. But Alaska, yes.
Yeah, I'm really I feel more confident about Alaska than I did about last year's Alaska. I really didn't think with everything going on, what the response was to the pandemic and dealing with a foreign country that we had no choice but to go into.
Right.
That made me really leery about Alaska. I think Alaska is going to be quite different than we expect. While we are not going to make any drastic changes right now, and Mark, I'm looking at you. I have already booked a second shore excursion for Icy Strait Point, because I don't think we're going to be able to do the ones we got booked. But you never know. It could change. I had
And I'm not doing anything yet.
No. I'm laughing at
Next
my
time.
sister's cat was kind of
Oh,
looking.
yeah.
And I think that yeah, the shore excursions, I had some onboard credit. So like I might as well book one as long as I have some, because I saw a bear one. They had a big bear picture there, and I'm like, oh, what the heck, I'm gonna book it. But and we'll be looking at trying to do a private shore excursion through the cruise line in Ketchikan, so that we can go to the Raptor Center and still maybe get some crab, because that's what I need to do.
I just needed beer, some wine.
So yeah, I think I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I have to be.
We need to get Todd to go. And a Karen.
Todd
Oh,
and Karen are going with us in May.
I'm talking Alaska.
Ah,
If May doesn't happen, it's most likely going to be shifted to Alaska.
Now you're
But-
trying to give me incentive.
I don't have enough vacation time to do both. So,
It does, that always posed a problem for us in the past. We were limited to the 3 weeks and how to deal with it.
May is a weekend sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it leaves on a Friday and it comes back on a Monday, so you still need 2 days off.
Don't help him, Karen.
Sorry.
and
And then you have
And-
to decide about traveling, if you want to come in Thursday night.
exactly, you never come in the day of your cruise.
No.
Mhm,
My travel specialist taught me that. So,
mhm.
Well, you could come in late on Thursday night and then leave early on Monday morning. Well, not early on Monday morning. We're gonna be in Miami. I wouldn't do that. Karen, where are you off to in March?
Oh, me, Kathy, and Lauren, we're going out to Sedona.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
so my flight leaves out of Miami at 7 a.m. And I said, Lauren, I said, oh, we are not getting up at the crack of dawn and driving at 3 a.m. to Miami. So that's why I had you book a hotel. And that hotel's in the airport. So I don't have to worry about trying to get a shuttle to get me to the airport at 5 a.m. So that's why I chose that one. It's convenient.
Where you staying?
It's the airport at Miami
The
Airport.
Miami International Airport Hotel.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it's not like a Hilton or a Marriott or,
No.
No.
hey, if it's clean, who cares?
Hey. Then we can take Tri-Rail down and check in and grab something to eat, and there we are at the airport.
I'm actually probably gonna do the same thing because my flight leaves earlier than yours.
And you're leaving out of Philly, I think, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let me know
So-
where you want to stay and I can get you some pricing.
Check the airport Marriott. And there's a whole bunch of them right on property. I think there's a Aloft. I think that's a Sheraton.
Think so, yeah. Which is a Marriott brand.
So, yeah, still Marriott, yeah.
Yeah.
Never
No, 'cause
stayed
I-
at one of those, it's
I
just
haven't either.
I'm trying to think if we did. I think we did once. I just don't remember where it was.
is it mid-scale, upscale, or,
Yeah,
Mid-scale.
yeah. Probably like a Clarion or Comfort Suites or something like that.
Yeah, the only place I've ever stayed is I've stayed at the airport Hilton and the airport Marriott, and that was simply because I got home so late one night that, I landed at 1 o'clock in the morning. I just
I'm done.
got a room and then took the train back up the next day. Took the train back up to Newark to get my car. I was diverted for some reason.
I had a client that was driving through Florida due to a hurricane. They couldn't get home. And the traffic was just horrible coming back in. And they lived just outside of Tampa. But we ended up getting them a room at the Tampa airport when they dropped the rental car off. 'Cause we don't even want to go any further than this. And mainly because we couldn't find a hotel on the way. Everything was booked solid. Mark, you missed all the trends.
what's the trends?
Domestic close in within the next couple months. River cruises, lots of river cruises.
I have myself pretty much committed this year, so. And the beginning of next year. So my next vacation I'm looking for is summer to fall of next year. And I'm looking at whatever we're gonna do, but I'm also hoping that maybe something pops up with the West National Parks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking. I like to do. And I haven't looked at the map, and I know you had it up the other day and I didn't pay attention, but can you pull off the Grand Canyon and the Utah maps relatively easy? I know there's a gap there between but I don't know if it's a 8-hour drive or a 12-hour drive or a bus, I don't know how to pull it. But that's what I'm looking at that. And then I've also got this wild hair about Aruba for some reason.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
looking at the sailings out of Barbados, thinking about those, but then Celebrity came out with their sailings, and they're going to have the Apex doing 7-night sailings in winter 2022, 2023. And the Edge doing the 10 and 11 night sailings, which the 10 and 11 night sailings are going to take you down to Aruba and Bonaire, Curacao. That was one of the
I'm
things
still
I
trying-
liked about the Barbados one, is you could do a shorter sailing and get to those islands still.
We did what was it, Karen? 9 nights?
Was it, I think it was 9 or 10
9.
nights and we did
Yeah.
the ABC cruise.
Yeah, I liked 9 nights.
Yeah.
There was just something very relaxing about it.
Yeah.
I would do another one of those again.
Was that only like 3 islands or did you do more than that?
We did Labadee, we were on Royal. We did Labadee, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
So you only 4, okay, so there must have been a lot of sail time too then. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was really nice.
Yeah.
Every other day is a stop instead of,
Yeah.
it's make a stop, sea day, make a stop, sea day.
Well, not with the ABC islands, because they're so
No,
close. So you do those 3 in a row, but
yeah, it was like 2 sail days and then 2 sail days back up to Miami.
yeah. That was on Navigator, if I remember right.
Yep, that was Navigator.
Yeah.
It just came out of dry dock. I think we were one of the first cruises.
Yeah, you were. I'm just seeing if I can find it quick. No, this was. I gotta have it in Karen's folder. But that was in 2019, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you guys went to, you had a day at sea, then Lavadee, day at sea, Bonaire, Curacao, Aruba, and then 2 days at sea.
yeah,
You were on, yeah, it was a 9-night.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice length. 9 or 10. I like having a couple days at sea too. When we did the one on Viking, that was a little tough. We overnighted, so we didn't really have a port day. It was left in the middle of the day when we left. We weren't there all day, right, Mark?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, it was just a part of the day.
And then, so we had like a late afternoon and overnight was basically at sea, but then every day after that we were in port.
Mhm.
It was too many ports.
That got
Too
really
many.
tiring.
Yeah,
And that's my concern with the sailings down out of Barbados, is they are very port intensive. There's a different port every day.
well, you kind of plan what you want to do. I mean, Curacao, we
Rented buggies.
yeah,
Dune
we
buggies.
rented
Yeah.
dune buggies, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Bonaire, we rented the car and we went snorkeling and drove around the
On our
island.
own,
And
yeah.
then Aruba, we just
We went to the
ended up
beach.
at a beach club and
Yeah.
had a blast.
I was in Aruba on the day before my 50th or my 40th birthday. So we did a snorkeling excursion with a lot of free rum punch. A lot.
Those are always the good ones. I like those.
And in Curacao, we went to, we did snorkeling, but we went to, it was like a nursery type place. So they had turtles there and sharks there that were all sectioned off. And we had stuff to feed the turtles through holes in plexiglass. So we couldn't swim with them, but they were very
Yeah.
close. Same with the great whites. And everybody we were with were over by the turtles and I couldn't get into any one of the holes. So I went and swam over by the sharks by myself. Someone came over and touched me on the back. Oh, I could have been walking on water at that moment. So scared.
I touched her fins and I thought she was gonna go planing.
Karen, what island was the donkey preserve on? Was that
That was Bonaire.
Bonaire?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the one I really wanted to go
Yeah.
to. And we've done Curacao and Aruba before going or coming back through the Panama Canal. That
Mhm.
was one of our stops. And we did it one on each trip. So we haven't done like all 3 of the islands or 2 of the islands at once. It was just one at a time. So I think it'd be neat to see the different islands, and I know they're all very similar, but
Yeah, the buggy tours that we did on Curacao. If you didn't know you were on Curacao, you could have sworn you were out somewhere in like Arizona driving along the desert.
Yeah.
It was,
I've heard that Cabo is the same way, because I've had some friends do ATV ride in Cabo.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
said very desert-like once you get outside of the water area.
yeah, it was a lot of fun going through the caves and everything.
Would be cool to do. I know when we were in Cabo, that was another experience. I gotta learn not to do shore excursions with Bill. We were on a jet ski in the bay, and I was screaming so loud. I just finally said, "Why don't you take me back? We'll both have a better time."
Yeah.
That's not a me problem.
So what would you guys like me to talk about in the next couple weeks? Or what kind of information I can get some, see if I can get some people to come talk for me, or
I like when you get the representatives come in from the various lines, because you get their perspective. Whether or not you get their, really know what they're, really what's happening inside. I mean, they're only privileged to so much information themselves too. But that seems to prompt more questions and answers when you're thinking, well, okay, let's consider this. I mean, I enjoyed it the couple times you've done that. I thought that I also thought it was a really good one, the one time where we had right after COVID, they allowed to open up Disney, and the one lady had gone there. I thought that was great information that she provided. So
would you like another one of those?
I like to see what the current status is on them. I
Mhm.
mean, that does,
Todd, would you like to be my guest speaker next week?
Are you going to Disney?
About Disney? Of course I'd love to.
Okay, so we
I
could
would-
do a Disney
I-
update next week.
I was planning on taking notes anyway. So
Do-
When are you leaving?
tomorrow morning,
Oh, how long are you going to be there for?
long weekend
Okay, good.
till Monday. I like these
Fun.
Thursday to Monday things. So
Yeah. Do you do a lot of book a lot of solo travel, Tracy?
Paramount, yeah.
Maybe something on solo travel?
Okay. Any particular types, like cruising or tours, or,
Cruising and tours.
okay.
you know, I don't know, we've never really done it, I don't think, as a group. But what about something like an all-inclusive in the Caribbean, or something where you spend a week at it all-inclusive, or I'm not so much on Mexico, but what do they offer? I mean, I've been at an all-inclusive on Roatan,
Mhm.
and an all-inclusive on Antigua. And it was pretty laid back. Now it's a whole different,
Yeah.
it's a whole different scenario. It's not like your typical go cruise type of stuff. It is a completely different animal. And it's sort of like what Kathy and Karen do when they go out, do their Sonona and stuff like that. It's not all inclusive, but well, it's all inclusive because you're cooking. But
Wait, what Kathy and Karen do in their 50s is very much different what Kathy and Karen used to do
In their 20s.
and go to the hedonism in Jamaica.
Yeah, go to hedonism in Jamaica, you know?
yeah, well, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, okay. I mean, it is a difference. Yeah, Okay, so you get yourself into the wrong age group potentially. Either that or you say, damn, I could used to be able to do that.
With all inclusives, would you want to know more about the different islands where you can do all inclusives, or just about the different brands of all inclusives, or?
I would like to know the different brands, but also ones that are catered to a nicer island and environment. You know, I mean, I'm not into, I guess, your Jamaica stuff or going down to Mexico or the couples now, you know, that type of stuff. Where can we go that's a little bit more on the upscale, all inclusive?
For us old folks, Mark.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to go there, but
Oh,
it's,
come on, go there.
I'm just trying to get an idea of what you're really looking for, because you're not looking for what you're telling me you're looking for.
I know.
All inclusive, but that caters to an older crowd, a more upscale, certainly not your sandals, your couples. You know, particularly what's in the Dominican Republic.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason that I asked that is because when you're saying not Mexico, there are some very high-end ones in Mexico
Well,
that are very nice. And if you're going to spend the whole time at the resort, I wouldn't exclude Mexico.
okay.
Same with, there's some pretty junky ones that are in Dominican Republic that I wouldn't recommend going to there. So if you're, it sounds like you're more looking for brands rather than the destination. Because
Yes.
then once you narrow down the brand, like if I said you should stay at a Royalton, we can say, oh, Royalton has one in Dominican, they have one in Cancun, they have one here, you know, and then go that route rather than going, well, in Dominican, you can go from anything from a Rio up to, I mean, sandals is not a cheap by any means experience. It is pretty high end. I don't put a lot of people at sandals because of the price point. But I understand where you're coming from now. So that'll
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, I think that's a direction. I mean, I like to see if we could pull one off as a group type of event that we go down there and it's more of a laid back, do the little local things. And Dominican Republic is a place I've wanted to go to. Costa Rica is another one that sort of intrigued me with the commercials, whether or not it's that way or not. I mean, the commercials that you see on Wheel of Fortune when
See,
they do their little,
that gets back to more the location,
yes.
because they're totally different experiences. I mean,
But you're looking at still nice.
Yeah, but you do have some jungles in Dominican, but you're mostly going there for the beach experience. And in Costa Rica, you're going there more for the jungles, and you still have some
Okay.
beaches. So it's like opposite of what you're thinking. With the Costa Rica, you're also looking at Pacific versus Dominican in the Caribbean. So
I given a choice, I don't mind going into a jungle for a day or two, but I'm more of a throw me on a beach scenario type of person. I like my the sand on my feet, the tropical drinks, and not having to stagger too far back to my room. You know? So
I was in Dominican, I think it's been 4 years now. I went there to tour some resorts. That's the only experience I had personally with all inclusives. Melissa has been to Cancun. I think she's going to Cancun in a couple weeks even. And I'm trying to think where Deb's been. I think Deb's been to Cancun. So yeah, it was interesting. We did, I want to say we did like 10 to 12 resorts in 3 days, touring them. So it gives you
The,
a good overview of what's there. And
we stayed at Galley Bay on Antigua, which was a nice resort, all inclusive. And the thing we learned, we were out, it's a big concave, half mile. And that time I was in shape because I would run 5 miles every morning just on a hard packed sand right down at the water. Every morning, that's, you go run, jump in, after you get sweating, jump in the water, cool off, walk back to my bungalow. It was on the one end of it. And in the center, obviously, is the main facility. And that's where you got your drinks. So we then, after all that, we get our Chase Lounge out, we get our books out, and I walked to get myself a drink. And I quickly found out that by the time I got back to the Chase Lounge, my drink was almost gone. So I started getting 2 drinks at a time and but I'd be making this trip. I had to go through a dozen plus drinks a day, but it was relaxing, enjoy. We did do some local stuff, and that's where you, as I mentioned, part of the board thing is you start seeing parts of the poor part of the country. And it's like, wow, it's nice and good when you're sheltered at a resort, but when you get out and about and see what the locals are living in, it's a whole different world.
we saw that in Bimini. We were in the Resort World area when we first got there, and we're touring, I think it was a Hilton. Toured that resort and went to their beach club. We saw where the Virgin Voyages beach club is going in, and they have a lot of vacation rentals there and really nice. It almost felt like we were in Celebration, Florida. Going down the street there, all the nice houses and just all rows of houses everywhere. And then when we went just past where you turn to go to the dock, then it was like total rundown. Like you were in a totally different world. So it's interesting. There's definitely tourist areas and non-tourist areas in a lot of places. Well, I'll see what I can put together. I'll see. We'll do Disney next week with Todd. Thank you, Todd. And then we'll look at solo travel and all inclusives. I just have to think, I don't know that I would have somebody outside of our agency that could talk on either of those things. Possibly. I'm thinking also about doing just a tours, just to give an overview of what it's like going on an organized tour. It'd be similar to Adventures by Disney, but probably not that high of scale, though close to that. So
We're started doing that in Alaska, so I'm assuming that's going to be.
Well, that's different because I'm putting together the whole thing. What I'm talking about is a tour where you have
Okay.
a guide. It
Okay.
would be very similar to an Adventures by Disney trip, but just a different company. And the rep that I want to have come in and do that, he works with several companies. So, and it's all different levels. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, I know he doesn't work with Trafalgar, but that's part of their brand. And then they also have Insight Vacations and Luxury Gold, and there's a couple other ones in the middle of that I'm just drawing a blank on what they are right now. But he could talk to us about, the different things that are included and why you would pick a Luxury Gold over an Insight Vacations over a Trafalgar and that sort of thing, and what the differences are. And
That would be good.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
right, and then maybe one of these days we can actually go somewhere with one. Of these.
Stop
Yeah.
doing all the talking and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm headed to, which I understand it's one hell of a resort called Big Cedar Lodge in Branson. And it's supposedly the #1 wilderness destination in the US. It's got I think 5 golf, it's owned by the guy who owns Bass Pro Shop. And he's got 5 golf courses on the place, including one by Tiger Woods, one by Jack Nicklaus, one by Gary Player, one by, I keep thinking Tom Watson, but I could be wrong with her. So I want to see it because you can go out, do skeet shooting, and you know, it just, if you look at the website, it's like, wow. So Tripp is going to Big Cedar at the end of February. And he'll be sufficiently doused with booze because we're going with a couple of couples that we know in St. Louis.
You booked that.
And, huh?
How did you book that?
I booked it with a super price from a discount code.
Ah,
And
okay.
she knew about that, I didn't know about. And we're staying in
Advice.
cottages on the lake, individual cottages that have, each one has their own fireplace in it and their own kitchen in it. And it was like $150 a night.
Well, next time you'll think of your travel agent when you do that.
Yeah, I will, because they go every year. They've been trying to con me into it not con me into it, trying to get me to go down there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years.
And that's my segue to, we do vacation rentals too. We have several suppliers we work with to do vacation rentals. So. In fact, in Florida, I'm very curious about, well, it's probably not going to happen this year, but we're talking about taking all of our agents down and going to Margaritaville and staying in an 8-bedroom cottage there.
Okay, down in Branson, yeah, Margaritaville was,
No,
used to be.
in Orlando.
And,
Oh, okay, Orlando. Well, they also have one down in Lake of the Ozarks that,
Yeah, to say that Margaritaville's everywhere now.
yeah, it used to be a Tantera, and we're actually went on our honeymoon there. And it sort of run down a little bit, and then Margaritaville rehabbed it the last couple of years, and it's now supposedly pretty damn fancy again.
In September, I toured the one in Orlando and got to see the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8-bedroom cottages, and then the
Wow.
rooms in the resort. And
it's
it's,
beautiful.
yeah, it was
It's
very nice.
beautiful.
And
Now, is Margaritaville a timeshare or is it just strictly just a hotel?
It's a hotel, and then you can rent the villa houses.
or you can buy into,
By the villa
Yeah.
houses.
Okay.
yeah,
alright.
you can definitely buy a cottage. You can, if you own your own, you can then work with them to rent it to others as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I think, I can't remember if they're all other people's units or if they're also owned by the company too. I'm not exactly sure on that one, but anything 5 bedrooms and above has their own private pool.
Hmm.
And they do have transportation to Disney as well and Universal. So it was definitely something worth looking into. And
Yeah.
one of my agents was with me and she said, we should have an agent retreat here. Like, of course you would think that.
Yeah, we went there 1 or 2 trips ago, and they had kind of just opened, and we were walking around, we were in the gift shop, and one of the kids working there was telling us that, all of a sudden they had like security, and they come in with this older guy, and he's walking around, very nice, very personable, talking to everybody. And then security came in and said, okay, we're ready for you, Mr. Buffett. And
Yeah.
Jimmy went out and played by the pool. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but thanks